if we can say, hey, listen, when this player was doing wrong, okay, yeah, we can criticize it because it's sports related, right? But as I said earlier, a lot of those guys went outside the sports lines, right? And they start taking personal attacks. So now with these personal attacks, and now you see that this man has matured, this man is leading his team, guys are looking up to him, and now when he comes to interview on your show, I'm a run, right? First I'm here, now I'm not here. Now, Coach Scott, something may have happened. He may have had to go. He probably wasn't scheduled for that segment. But at the same time, it don't look that way. Coach J.O., NBA countdown. Now you see me, now you don't. That was Stephen A. Smith when he was talking about Kyrie. Now, we know, Coach Scott, that Kyrie has been inside of a little bit of controversy over the last couple years. Well, was it about a year ago, maybe 2 years ago? Something like that, about an Amazon link that we're not going to get into right now, but there was a little controversy. And one of the people who was so critical on him about that and other situations was Stephen A. Smith. And he really rode Kyrie harder than anybody else, almost like he did Kwame Brown in a sense. He just finds somebody, laser focus, he goes in on him. But now Kyrie is like performing and leading his team and doing so great. And initially on, NBA Countdown, Stephen A says, hey, yeah, he's doing great. Let me be the first to say it. I was critical, about what I said.
But fast forward, and they're a win away from being at their second conference finals in the last 3 seasons. So what has impressed you the most about Kyrie?
Leadership. Kyrie Irving has been a leader, and nobody has been more critical of him than me over the last several years. I don't even think you've got me beat because you got a half hour. I got 2 hours in the morning. I don't think anybody will beat me when it comes to being critical of Kyrie Irving. He has not deserved the criticism this year. He has been a leader. He has been a star when called upon to be a star. We know that he's only averaging 14.5 points this series, but when you look at him, he's got about 6 steals. He's got about 4 blocks. In the second half of the playoffs, he shoot like better than 54% from three-point range. What you need him to get done, he gets done. And to see him be deferential to Luka Doncic when it's called upon to be that, to feed and encourage the Derek Jones and the P.J. Washingtons of the world. That's the leadership that Kyrie Irving has brought to the table. He's reminded us that he's a champion, and he's a champion for a reason, and he deserves all the praise in the world for how he's performed, not just during these playoffs, but in this regular season where they ended up being a 5th seed, and he's played about 58 games. The guy has been a model citizen, and he's been a great player, and he deserves all the credit in the world for it.
But then Kyrie comes on for an interview, right? And then Stephen A. disappears. It sounds all good to say that stuff, but what happened to being man to man? Let me say I was wrong about you face to face. Coach J.O., is it me, or is that, to me, that's being less of a man? I know we talk in sports and people like to talk about, y'all getting personal and this and that. We always talk about sports and sports related topics. We never call anybody an idiot because we heard people call Kyrie idiots. We heard people say stuff about Kyrie, call him by his name. We've never once done that. And now when that man is on your show and you can say, hey, look, my bad. Listen, you proved me wrong. You disappear. I gotta say, Stephen A., you lost some cool points and some respect points for me on that one. I need to know what happened, why you left. Coach J.O., what's your thoughts?
I think that everybody, not only Stephen A. Smith, but the entire NBA media has been looking for something to blame Kyrie for. They've been looking for something to point the finger at Kyrie, and now they don't have it, right? He's balling out. Right. He's quiet. Mark Cuban, Luka Doncic, all have raved about Kyrie Irving leadership. Luka Doncic said he has made him a better player. He talks about how Kyrie Irving has got the young guys up under his wing and just being a leader. Think about this. 3 years ago, Kyrie went from we don't need a coach to the guy he is now. And that's a credit to Kyrie Irving maturation as a man and as a player, right? So when it's time for Stephen A. Smith, like you said, to face him face to face, all right? Why can't you tell him that, Stephen A. Smith? Why can't you congratulate him? Why can't you, hey, Kyrie, man, brother, I know we done had our differences in the past, man, but I just want to give you a shout out. You've been doing great with his team. You leading the Mavs. Like, what's so hard about that? You know why he can't do that? Because it's going to be a different narrative now. And I don't think Stephen A. Smith, and I don't think the NBA wants that narrative on Kyrie. They want to keep him, they want the same narrative flowing. He's a troublemaker. He's a pot stirrer. You know what I'm saying? Right, but that's not Kyrie. He's been a leader, dog. Shout out to Kyrie.
Hey, shout out to Kyrie, Coach Scott, and Coach J.O. is absolutely right. I mean, you can look at the difference. I mean, even before then, we still couldn't hate on his skill, right? Yeah, he probably need to change a couple things, but if we can say, hey, listen, when this player was doing wrong, okay, yeah, we can criticize it because it's sports related, right? But as I said earlier, a lot of those guys went outside the sports lines, right? And they start taking personal attacks. So now with these personal attacks, and now you see that this man has matured, this man is leading his team, guys are looking up to him, and now when he comes to interview on your show, I'm a run, right? First I'm here, now I'm not here. Now, Coach Scott, something may have happened. He may have had to go. He probably wasn't scheduled for that segment. But at the same time, it don't look that way because you have been very critical. You said what you said about him, and then you try to give him those props. And and what I've noticed, and I'm going to give you the mic right now, Coach Scott, but what I noticed about Stephen A. Smith, even when it came down to the situation with him and Kwame Brown, his apologies are not really apologies. His my bad are not really my bads. There's always something in there with it to kind of keep him and justify himself. Same thing with Kyrie. Yeah, he came out and said, oh, yeah, he's doing good. And he said all this good stuff. But then you disappear. Coach Scott, what's your thoughts?
It just goes back to accountability. He had a show when Darvin Ham got fired, and he just had a segment about accountability.
Are you willing to concede that if we're having a conversation about who the true GOAT is, that some level of accountability must come with it?
And being able to be accountable. And I think that in that, you have to be able to drink your own medicine. You have to be able to take your own medicine. Coach J.O. don't want to be an echo chamber. I think he hit on every single point that I would have possibly hit it on. You kind of finished it up. And, for him to be on his show and him to not show the overall gratitude to say thank you. Hey, look, here's some of the things that, we may have differed on, but I see the growth. I see you. I see the maturation in where you were and where you are today. What are some of the things that help you get there? That would have been a great story. But we didn't get it. We were robbed of it as fans. And, again, I think it goes back to accountability. We should hold them accountable just like they hold the athletes accountable on a regular basis.
And that's why we do Sports Unfiltered, because that's what we're doing. Stephen A., man, shame on you for that. You should have sat there and you should have talked to that man because you talked about that man, right? Now, let me I'm a transition, and people love to say, and I just had this conversation. This is the only reason I'm transitioning, right? I just had this conversation. It was on one of our clips on YouTube, not YouTube, but Facebook. And, like always, somebody jump on there and be like, you guys are hating the black community because we said, so it's an old video that we said something about LeBron James, and I can't even remember what it was. It kind of took my attention. But here's the difference, right? Whether you're a LeBron James fan, whether you're a Michael Jordan fan, here's the difference. And here's where the line should be drawn, all right? Here's where the line should be drawn. It should never become personal, right? And I'm telling this guy, whoever he was, there's some guy, he was in his 60s. I'm like, listen, guy, we've never said anything personal. We never called him an idiot. We've heard people call Kyrie Irving idiots and stupid and he's all this type of stuff. We've never said that about any player because we do sports unfiltered, not people's personal lives. We're covering sports. You guys are just bringing somebody down. I need y'all to keep that same energy when we're talking about Kevin Durant. When the media's talking about Kevin Durant, is the black community falling at that point? Yep. Oh, no. That's okay. We could talk about them. We could talk about, no, the black community is not falling. Was the black community falling when Stephen A. was doing all that talking for all that time about Kwame Brown? Nobody said nothing about that. I mean, y'all could weigh in and jump in here when they already, but nobody said nothing about that. But whenever we said, and I'm telling him, like, listen, my guy, we don't hate this guy personally. We're all fans of different people. We're all arguing our points, and that's all it is. Nothing more. Nothing more. I don't know if you guys want to weigh in, Coach.
No.
Coach J.O.
I definitely do, right? I was filming yesterday on the Coach J.O. show we was talking about Bronny James and how the media was and the scouts were critical of Bronny James. And again, you get NBA fans, well, specifically LeBron James fans. Why are you hating on the kid? Why are you doing this to the kid? Just let the kid be a kid, as if he's this is what's happening in the draft process, right? They critique you. They give your strengths. They give your weaknesses. Just like Kendrick Perkins said today. Why is the NBA, why are we on ESPN covering a kid that may not even get drafted? Why are we talking about a kid that may not even get drafted and taking the spotlight from first round picks, or what Kendrick Perkins said, players that may be more worthy? I'm not saying those players are more worthy. I'm just saying what Kendrick Perkins said, right? So my thing is, why can't he be criticized? LeVar Ball's sons were criticized. They were personal with LaMelo Ball, Lonzo, LiAngelo. They talked about LeVar. Nobody came to the rescue then. Okay, it is what it is, people. We got to stop it.
That's facts. And Coach Scott, I'm one of the ones, because you hear a lot of LeBron fans say, you guys are not going to, you're going to hate on Bronny because you don't like LeBron. I actually want to see Bronny play. I mean, I'm kind of excited. I want to see what happens. Because if he comes out balling, like, people got to realize this is not personal. It's sports. And I do think that Bronny is going to get some unfair criticism from a lot of people because they are Jordan fans. Because the argument, the GOAT debate, which I believe shouldn't even be a GOAT debate, the GOAT debate has developed to a point where it's kind of nonsensical at this point. It kind of does. It's kind of crossing over to another realm. Bronny has nothing to do with that. It's not his fault. It's really not his fault. Hey, my dad say, hey, go to the draft. I'm going to the draft. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I respect LeBron for that. I'm going to keep it 100 because if I can get my son, hey, Elijah, going to the NBA draft and I can get you in there, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to get him in there. I can, from a business standpoint, from a father standpoint, I can get that. From a basketball standpoint, I understand what Coach J.O. is saying. There's more other players we should probably be covering. But I ain't mad at LeBron for it. Do what you got to do, to get your success, because these NBA teams will use and abuse you as well. You know what I mean, Coach Scott? So, do what you got to do. Get your paper.
1,000%. I 1,000% know it and believe it, that these teams they're definitely not subservient to you in the sense of, loyalty. One of the things I will say in the Bronny James kind of media frenzy is that I really respect the fact that he's putting himself out there to be scrutinized. A lot of these first round picks, they're not out there. They're not at camp. They're not being scrutinized personally. They want to shoot in their own gyms. They want to do their own pro days. They want to be comfortable. And being in a stage where you're being scouted by individuals that do this for a living for 2, 3, maybe 4 days straight on, answering questions, going on the court, watching your release, watching how you facilitate with people you don't know, that scrutiny, that comes with a level of maturity about basketball. And I think he's doing a phenomenal job with handling that. And I think that's why he's getting the media he's getting now, because he's there to get the media. He's present to get it. Most of these big name athletes that are pegged to be first rounders, they're not there to be scrutinized. They're not there to be answering these questions. And I think that, for me, that's a hats off to Bronny for sure.
I agree. That's a great point. Listen, I'm excited to see Bronny play. I want to see what he can do. I know what people say. Oh, he only averaged 4 or 5 points and he had a medical condition, this and that. But it would be a great story if he did come to the NBA and actually climb that ladder and did something great. I'm not gonna say, hey, I'm gonna hate on this guy and I don't want him to do it because I like Jordan. That has nothing to do with Jordan. It has absolutely nothing to do with Jordan. So I'm excited to see what happens with the situation, just like I'm excited to see the rest of the draft picks as well. But let's go to the next topic. All right.